Hello Year 5 and welcome to Maths. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of revision. So let's start with adding and subtracting fractions. First of all, we're going to start with these fractions which have the same denominator. So first thing that I'm going to do is add the denominators. We don't add them, remember? Good, they stay the same. Good. So that's thirds. 2 plus 1 equals 3, or that can be written as 1 whole. Great. Next, 7/9 take away 3/9 equals. Our denominator stays the same. Good. 7 take away 3 equals 4. So our answer is 4/9. Great. Now I'm going to add 2/3 and 1/6. So let's take a look at our steps to success. We have find the lowest common denominator. And what does that mean? It means that we need to find a number that all the denominators will divide equally into. Number 2. When we're converting it, we must multiply denominator to match the larger one. Then we multiply the numerator by the same amount. And then we repeat steps 2 and 3 until all fractions are converted. Once we've done that, we're going to add the fractions or subtract them. And we do that by adding or subtracting the numerators, and the denominators remain the same. So let's see. 2/3 plus 1/6. What would be my common denominator for thirds and sixths? 3 and 6. It would be 6. So I'm going to start. I'm going to write down my common denominator here to remind me. I'm going to start by converting this fraction, which is into sixths. So I have 2/3 equal 6. Okay. Now I need to multiply the denominator to match the larger one. So what must I do to 3 to get 6? Good, I must multiply it by 2. Now I'm going to multiply my numerator by the same amount. So 2 times 2 equals 4. I've now found the equivalent fraction for 2/3. So I'm going to write that down here. 2/3 plus, 4/6 plus 1/6 equals, and then we add our numerator. 4 plus 1 equals 5, and then our denominators remain the same. So our answer is 5/6. As you can see, I made that mistake. It's quite easy to copy that fraction, but remember, you're actually writing down the equivalent fraction. Okay, we need to make sure that the denominators are the same before we can add them. So it's a good thing I double check that. Okay, here we go. Let's do this one. Tell me what the first step is. Can you read it out? Good. So what's our lowest common denominator? What number can be divided by 12 and by 4? Yeah, great. 12. Excellent. So I'm going to write that down there to remind me. Next, I'm going to write down the fraction that I need to convert, and we're finding it's equal 12ths. Next, multiply denominator to match larger one. So I'm going to draw a line and I'm going to ask myself, what must I do to 4 to get 12? 4, 8, 12, multiply it by 3. Great. I'm going to take that off. Now, step 3, multiply the numerator by the same amount. 2 multiplied by, good, 3 equals 6. Now I'm going to repeat steps 2 and 3 until all of the fractions are converted, but actually I don't need to convert the next fraction. I am going to make sure that I write down the correct fraction, which is 6/12. So 6/12 plus, I'm going to check my operation, 2/12 equals, and let's take a look at my steps. Add or subtract the numerators. 6 plus 2 equals 8, and the denominators stay the same. So the answer is 8/12. Good. Can that be simplified? Yeah, absolutely. So 8 can be divided and 12 can be divided both by 4. Good. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So either 8/12 or 2/3 are both correct. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Now, this fraction I'd like you to pay very close attention to because you're going to be seeing similar ones in your independent work. Sometimes there may be 3 fractions, but as you can see here, we are subtracting 3/4 take away 1/3. As I'm sure you've noticed, the denominators are different. We now need to find the lowest common denominator. So what number will both 4 and 3 divide into? Sometimes we can go to our times tables of the 4 times tables or the 3 times tables and find numbers that are in both. That's quite an easy way of calculating it. So let's take a look. Well, not 8 because I can't divide 8 by 3. Not 9 because I can't divide 4 by 9. But 12? Okay, I think so, because I can divide 12 by 4 and I can also divide 12 by 3. Okay, so I found my lowest common denominator. I'm going to tick here and I am going to start by converting this fraction here. So 3/4 equals, we're finding 12ths. So what do I need to do to 4 to get 12? 4, 8, 12, I need to multiply it by 3. So I do the same to my numerator. 3 times 3 equals 9. Good. I'm going to write that down here. 9/12. And I'm going to take that away. Great. I'm now going to repeat steps 2 and 3 until all fractions are converted. So I need to convert this one here. 1/3 equals how many 12ths? Okay, so let's see. I'm going to multiply the denominator to match the larger one. 3, 6, 9, 12. So I need to multiply that by 4. And now I must do the same to my numerator. 1 times 4 equals, good, 4. That's my second fraction. That's also a 12th. So take away 4/12. Great. Okay, now I'm going to add or subtract the numerators. So 9 take away 4 equals 5. And the denominator remains the same. So my answer is 5/12. All right, let's take a look at some fractions where there are 3 fractions. Okay, again, I'm going to find the lowest common denominator. Let me see. What about 2? Because I can see that all of the numbers are even. Will 2 be a lowest common denominator? Why? Yeah, that's right. I can't divide 2 by 8. Remember, you're not dividing your denominators by the number that we're looking for. We need to divide the number that we're looking for by the denominators. So let me see, 2, 4 and 8. Actually, I think maybe 8, because I know that I can divide 8 by 8, that equals 1. I can divide 8 by 4, that equals 2. And I can divide 8 by 2, that equals 4. Great, so I know that my lowest common denominator is 8. So now I'm going to convert all of the fractions that aren't 8s one by one. I'll start with the first one, half, and I'm converting it to 8s. So now I'm going to look at my second step, multiply denominator to match the larger one. So 2, what do I need to do to 2 to get 4? Multiply it by, 2 to get 8, multiply it by 4. 1, good, multiplied by 4. What's my answer? Great, 4. So I'm going to write that down so that I don't forget. That's 4 eighths. And I'm also going to double check my operation. Okay, that's subtract. Okay, so I've done those 2 steps. Now I've got to repeat 2 and 3 until all fractions are converted. So I've converted this fraction. I haven't converted the quarter yet, so I'm going to do that now. 1/4 equals how many 8s? So I'm going to take a look. What do I need to do to my denominator to match it to the larger one? 4, good, multiplied by 2. What's my next step? Tell me. Good, I'm going to multiply my numerator by the same amount, and my answer is good. What am I going to do with 2 8s? Excellent. I'm going to write it down so that I don't forget. 2 8s. And is this all? No, I have a third fraction, so it's really important that I remember all of the fractions. Okay, and that's 1/8. Great. So now I can calculate it. First of all, I'm going to either add or subtract my numerators, and I know that it subtracts. So 4 take away 2 equals 2. 2 take away 1 equals 1. And my denominator, good, always stays the same. Fantastic. So my answer is 1/8. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, I'd like you to tell me what to do. Step number 1, read it out for me. Okay, so what is the lowest common denominator? Shout it out. We've got 3, 6 and 12. Shall I tell you which one I think? I think 24, because I can divide 24 by 12, and I can divide 24 by 6, and I can divide 24 by 3. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I can hear that some of you agree and some of you disagree. Let's take a look at this. This says the lowest. Is 24 the lowest common denominator? Yes, some of you might say, good, 12, that's right, because I can divide 12 by 12, that equals 1. I can divide 12 by 6, that equals 2, and I can divide 12 by 3, which equals 4. So I'm going to write 12 there to remind me that I'm converting my fractions into 12ths. Great, so I found my lowest common denominator. What's my, I'm going to write down the fraction that I'm converting. And what's my first step? Good. So what must I do? Excellent. And now, third step. Good. Multiply it by what? And my answer is good. What should I do with my converted fraction? Yeah, I think I'm going to write it down straight away so that I don't forget. Okay, then I'm going to check the operation. Okay. Right, what shall I do now? Can you read out step 4? Good. So I've converted this one. Now I'm going to move on to the next fraction, 3/6. 3/6 equals, what am I converting it to? 12ths. Okay. What's the second step? Multiply it by what? Good. And the third step? Multiplying 3 by? Good. And my answer is, what am I going to do with that fraction? Yes, I'm going to write it down. 6/12. Good. Is that it? Well remembered. I have a third fraction. Do I need to convert this one? I don't know. So I'm going to write 1/12 there. Okay, so now I'm going to add or subtract the numerators. 4 plus 6 plus equals, good. And what's my denominator? 12. Why? Good. We don't add them, do we? They just stay the same. Excellent. Fantastic. Well done, Year 5. So now what I'd like you to do, I can't fit them all on the same page, so I'm going to ask you to pause. And I'd like you to complete these 6. And then when you finish that, you can complete the next 3 here. Okay. And when you've finished, unpause and we'll go through the answers. Remember to find the common denominator. There are some that are tricky ones there. Okay, so how did you do? Let's take a look. Here are the answers for questions 1 to 6. Pause the video and mark your work. And here are the answers for questions 7 to 9. Pause the video and then unpause to continue. How did you do? Fantastic. Okay, let's go on to our next revision, which is adding improper fractions and mixed numbers. Now, the first two are quite simple because they have the same denominator. So we can simply add or subtract, remembering that our denominator, tell me, good, doesn't change. So that remains 15ths. 12 plus 7 equals, good, 19. Now this is an improper fraction because our numerator is greater than our denominator. It's correct. Is there another way that we could write it? Tell me. Excellent. So it's 1. If I were to 19 divided by 15 equals 1, remainder 4. So 1 is our whole number and 4 is our numerator. And our denominator doesn't change. So 19 15ths or 1 and 4 15ths. Let's go to our second. 4 fifths plus 3 fifths. Our denominators don't change, so that will be 5. 4 plus 3 equals, good. And can you tell me what the mixed number would be? And excellent, 1 and 2 fifths, well done. Right, so now let's take a look at this. We have 2 mixed numbers, 3 1/4 and 3 5/8. So let's take a look at our steps to success. Number 1, first of all, we're going to add the whole numbers. So we have 3 and 3. So I'm going to write that here. 3 plus 3 equals 6. And I'll just tick that. Next, I'm going to write the fractions that I have, 1/4, because I've added this, and also 5/8. Okay, you can see the fractions here. I've just written them here. And we're going to do the same as we did previously. We're going to find our lowest common denominator. What's our lowest common denominator? We've got 4 and 8. What number can I divide by 8 and what number can I divide by 4? Good, I can divide both 8 by both these numbers. So I'm going to write that there to remind me. So now I'm going to convert my first fraction. 1/4 equals how many 8s? Okay, I've found my common denominator. I'm now going to multiply my denominator to match the largest, which is 2. Fantastic. And the next step. Good. I'm going to multiply the numerator. 1 times 2 equals 2. Great. So I know that this 1/4 is equivalent to 2 8ths. And now I can add them because this is also an 8th. So I'm going to write that down here. 2 8ths, need to make sure I'm writing the correct fraction, plus 5 8ths equals, now I'm going to add the numerators, 7. And then I'm going to add the denominators. What am I? Well done. I'm going to write down 8th because we don't change the denominators. Now I'm going to convert the improper fraction to a mixed number. Is this an improper fraction? No, because the numerator isn't greater than the denominator, so therefore I don't need to convert it. So I can go to the next step. I now need to add the mixed number with the whole number from step 1. So here's my whole number from step 1, 6, and I need to add that to my 7 8. So actually my answer is 6 and 7 8ths. Okay, let's try one more. I have, can you see that? Oop. I have 9 9/10 plus 2 3/5. What's the first step? So can you tell me the whole numbers? 9 plus 2. Great. Equals 11. Fantastic. What's the second step? Yeah, I'm going to write down the 2 fractions that are left, 9/10 and 3/5. And I'm going to find the lowest common denominator. So what's the lowest common denominator? I have 10ths and 5/5. Good, 10. So I'm going to write the 10 there so that I know that I'm converting to tenths. Which, am I going to convert 9/10? No, because it's already a tenth. So I'm going to convert 3/5 into tenths. So my next step is number 3. Can you read it out for me? Good. I'm going to multiply my denominator. What do I need to do to 5 to get to 10? Excellent. I'm going to multiply it by 2. And then what must I do to the numerator? Great, yeah, I'm going to multiply that by 2 as well. So 3 times 2 equals 6. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to repeat steps 3 and 4 until all fractions are converted. But as I can see, it's just the one fraction. So now I'm going to add my 2 fractions. 9/10 plus 6/10 equals, I'm going to add or subtract the numerators, so I'm adding 9 plus 6 equals 15, good, and the denominators remain the same, so I'm going to place 10 there. Now I'm going to convert the improper fraction to a mixed number. Is this an improper fraction? Yes. So I divide 15 by 10, which equals 1, remainder 5. Good. So I put my whole number as 1, because my whole number is 1, and the remainder becomes the numerator, and I still keep the same denominator. Okay, so now that I've done that, now I need to add my mixed number with the whole number from step 1. So I've got my mixed number here, and I'm going to add it with my whole number from step 1, which was here. So 11 plus 1 and 5/10 equals 11 plus 1 equals 12, and then we have 5/10. Is there another way that I can write this? Yeah, good. Or it can be 12. I can simplify 5/10 to 1/2. 5 divided by 5 is 1, 10 divided by 5 is 2. Good job. So what I would like you to do now is to complete the next 6 questions. Pause, and then when you finish, unpause, and we'll go through the answers. So how did you do? Let's take a look. Here are the answers. Remember to mark your work before you upload it to Seesaw. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and hope you have a lovely evening. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye.